We got the original floor plans back, and they're terrible. We'll walk you through them in this video, and if you have any ideas for our renovation, please post them in the comments. Ideas are always welcome. So the first thing we had to do before we could even think about the renovation of the old station was to have plans drawn up of the original building. So surveyor's drawings of the building as it is now. This had to be done so the architects have exact measurements to work from when they're planning out the design for the new renovation. You might remember from my 100 Years of History video that the old station was converted from a railway station into a home in the 1980s. This is the station in the 1980s before it was converted when it was abandoned. We have the planning permission from that time, but we don't actually have any plans. We needed exact measurements for the current renovation, so we had a surveyor draw up some plans. This process was incredibly detailed and actually took a day and a half with 2 guys measuring every bit of the building. So here's the plans and what the layout looks like now. Let's walk through them. Here's the front door and the hallway where you walk into the station. Here's the only bathroom off the hallway by the front door. Here's the big long room that looks out onto the canopy area. We think this would have been the waiting room for the railway station. On the left side of the building there are 2 rooms, the study, or the station master's room as we're calling it. And this big room here that was used as a bedroom. Moving back over to the other side of the railway station, there's the hallway that has the teeny tiny staircase. And what was converted into a living room in the 1980s. The last room in the main building downstairs is the kitchen. The canopy area is here. And the outbuildings are here. The layout of downstairs on the whole isn't actually that bad. There's just one thing I can't work out why they did it. And that's this hallway and stairs. They're just so tiny. When you walk in, the hallway is really pokey and the stairway is really difficult to navigate, particularly when you get upstairs. The biggest mystery though is why they designed the upstairs the way that they did. Let's take a look. Here's the current upstairs floor plans as they designed them in the 1980s. What you can see here is the pokey little stairway, the hallway, the first bedroom, here are the chimney breasts for the fireplaces downstairs. What these plans really bring to life is the space that's not being used. All this space is the attic that was never converted. So in the last 40 years, this space has never really been used. If you want to see what it looks like, check out our video on the abandoned attic. When you look at the entire layout of the upstairs on the plans, it's just not great. There's hardly any of the space available used, the bedrooms are really small, the corridors are tiny, and you can hardly use the stairs because the ceiling's too low to get up them properly. One of the reasons the plans may have been designed in this way is because of this. All of these dotted lines are the beams that run throughout the station to hold up the roof. They're beautiful, but they get in the way of changing the room layout. There's loads we can do now with structural engineering, but in the 80s that may not have been available. The terrible layout upstairs is something we can rectify during the renovation. There's one more thing I want to show you about the plans which I think is super cool and highlights building design themes from the 1800s. Back to the downstairs plans. What you can see is 3 sections of the building. All 3 sections are rectangles of exactly the same size. The middle section is just tipped on its side to join the 2 ends together. This shows just how symmetrical the building is. So many old buildings were built with symmetry, and it's so cool that the old station is like that too. So there's the current layout of the old station from the 1980s renovation. Now we just need to get our new plans complete. Follow the old station renovation to see our journey.